Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you are tuning in to this broadcast. I am your international award winning author and filmmaker and empowerment specialist, Tennille M. Jackson. And I want to welcome you to an all new Get in Alignment with Your Assignment. And so, as you guys are coming on, please feel free to say hello so that way I can speak back. Be sure to like and share the video and then tag somebody that you believe will benefit from this broadcast. And as you know, Get in Alignment with Your Assignment is the show that talks all about purpose from every angle. So, what it means to walk in your purpose, what happens when you don't walk in purpose, people who are affected, and everything in between. And so, whether you are watching me from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, or even listening from Wisdom, know that I appreciate you all. And again, be sure to say hello. And so, hello, Miss Anna, Miss Valerie. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today, I know that I'm coming on a little later, but the reason why I want to come on was a few reasons. Number one, I want to come on because I want to be able to officially say Merry Christmas to you guys. This is my last show, official show for 2023. I cannot believe I'm saying that, but like literally in 3 days is Christmas, which means in 10 days is an entirely new year. And so, although life was life and with and for me, not in a bad way, but I did not want to just forego doing this show. Number one. Number two, I did want to make the announcement that when I start back on January 8th, we will be going back to live at 5, guys. And so, there are some things that have been going on. And when you are walking in your purpose, you learn to make adjustments, right? So you understand that life may not always go the way that you intend, the way that you thought, but you figure out how to go with the flow. You figure out how to move and sway and shake as long as you don't stop, as long as you don't fall, right? Like you can go ahead and you can make whatever the necessary adjustments are. So when I come back, and don't worry, there will be some promotions that are letting you guys know about the new time. And really, it's not new. For those of you who have been following me, I've been doing the whole podcasting thing now probably for about 7 years. And when I first started out, well, I've changed times. I've always changed times. It's always whatever is necessary, but I've always either gone live at 2, 3, or 5. And I never thought about 2 plus 3 is 5. But anyway, yeah. So it's always been either 2, 3, or 5. So when I come back as of January 8th, we will be live at 5. So we'll start back again live at 5. Now, today, guys, I did want to talk about some stuff. I have not had the opportunity to specifically tag anybody, but what I'm asking that you all do, especially those of you who are joining me from a visual platform, tag anyone that you know who has been listening to, talking about this whole Christian Keys situation, anyone who has been listening to or talking about the Bishop T.D. Jakes situation that's connected to Diddy. And so, no, this is not going to be a gossip show. You guys know what I do. We look at what's going on in the world, right? We look at what's going on in the world, but we figure out how to, kind of break it down, right? So, in other words, a lot of times people see what's going on in life and they automatically want to just start picking people apart. First thing that they go for is they go for the jugular, they go for breaking people down. And so my point is not really about attacking, but more so just giving clarity for what's going on and how you ought to proceed. So I'm not siding one way or the other with anybody. I'm not telling you who to side with, but what I am going to be doing today is giving you an encouraging word for how you should allow this incident or these incidents to affect you in your purpose walk, because that's what's important. So let's just kind of let some things start breaking down some things, right? So about a week or so ago, Christian Keys, who is an actor, he came and did a what I would call a venting session live on Instagram. And within that session, he pretty much just let it out that he had been dealing with sexual harassment, right? This was not the first time that he had to deal with this particular issue, but at this point, he's just really flustered with having to constantly deal with this issue. And so he's like, I want to just bring it to the forefront. I don't want to keep on talking about, and allowing people to get away with what's going on. But I want to actually bring it to the forefront. I want to talk about, and I want for other people to chime in on it. This is kind of what he was saying, like just letting you all know that, hey, just because I am within the public eye, don't think for one moment that that means that I don't have to deal with what other people have to deal with, because I still have to deal with certain situations. And so he had really just been letting us know some of the things that have been going through. And so what happened was, within this whole session, as he's talking about, as he's breaking down some of the things he'd been going through, he pretty much alluded to the fact that he had experienced sexual harassment. He then kind of talked about the fact that this was not the incident that he was talking about. This was not the first time that the situation had happened. From my understanding of it, there are multiple people that he's saying are connected, not just one person who is responsible. And so, in either case, this is what happened. So, when the news came out, and then it wasn't just that, but he then even uh, further complicated the matter by referencing the guilty parties as those who were billionaires, right? And so you don't really have a lot of black billionaires. And so that then got people to talking, whispering, because everybody, human nature, people are going to try to figure out what's going on, right? And a lot of times, we'll just stop right there to insert a quick lesson. A lot of times we will say that, we get angry for people for being in our business, but understand that nobody knew any of this, or at least the public at large had no idea about this situation until he brought it to the forefront. Okay. And so when you do something like that, then now what you're doing is you are opening the door. You are opening doors for somebody to have something to say. And again, this is not, I don't have any ill will or ill feelings toward Christian Keys. I'm not a fan, but I'm not an enemy. Like, I don't believe in being fans of people. And you all, as I go through this live, you will understand what it is that I mean and why it is that I say that. So in either case, just giving you guys just a story for what it is. So bottom line is, he revealed the fact that he had been sexually harassed. He revealed the fact that it's some, billionaire within the Hollywood scene, and that he basically was going to reveal who it is. Now, as of present day, he still has not revealed a name. And so that is getting different people's feathers ruffled, because they're starting to feel a certain way about the fact that he would bring something of this magnitude to light without actually naming names, right? So now pause there, and then you go over to this other situation where you have it where Diddy, who is I guess you would call him a rap mogul, he has gotten into some type of situation. Well, more, he's typically involved in something, but this latest is situations that came out with, I guess it was a not necessarily his band member, but a band that he helped to develop. And the bottom line is, the things that he did to her They are now coming out. She has since gotten married. Her husband encouraged her to bring it forth, not to just sweep it under the rug. And so Kim Porter, who is now deceased, her contents are have they have possession of her contents. I believe that is like a USB drive, just basically various information that could pretty much bury not just Diddy, but here's where TD Jakes comes in at, because what it has been said, it has been alleged that Diddy, was, through parties where various power people came, and TD Jakes was one of those people. Okay. And so it's not just the fact that TD Jakes, who most people refer to as Bishop, is not just that he is a strong religious figure, and the fact that he was intertwined with Diddy more so than the allegations, which is that he was engaged in, whether it be homosexual, bisexual, just sexual immorality activity. Okay, sexually immoral activity. And so supposedly, again, all of this is allegation. So supposedly what's happening next is the fact that the information has been turned over to the feds, and so that means that it is just a matter of time before whatever has been done in the dark will come to the light. And that is where I want to stop right now, and just really go into the topic, which is what happens when you don't live on purpose. What happens when you don't live on purpose? So the reason why I want to start it out with those individuals is because, for whatever reason, hey, Miss Nancy, for whatever reasons, there are times that non-celebrities, so the general public, typically tends to believe that celebrity living is the way to go. Many people covet celebrities. Many people covet those who have riches, and they are wealthy, they are famous, they have notoriety. So many times you have people who are not in those shoes coveting those shoes, wanting to be in those shoes. And a lot of times we don't even understand what it takes for people to get where they are. And Christian Keys, he does go on to say that he thanked God for being patient enough to take the scenic route, right? So there are a lot of times where, in Hollywood, and this isn't anything new, this isn't news, where, you are expected to position yourself in a way that lacks integrity and character, right? Christian Keys went on to show a story of a reel that was done by Matthew Lawrence, who is also an actor, and he's a white actor. And he went on to say how his agency set up a prominent meeting with a well-known Oscar award-winning director, and he too, Matthew Lawrence, was propositioned. And when he did not involve himself, when he did not do what he was asked to do, propositioned to do, then his agency ended up dropping him, right? Because again, when you live in a world like Hollywood, they look at things differently, right? It's all about the mighty dollar. So a lot of times the expectations that you just sweep things under the rug, the expectations that you just go with the flow, the expectations that you don't say anything, just keep your mouth shut, do what you're told, do what you're asked. And then if you do that, then you will be able to climb the ladder, right? So again, what happens when you don't live on purpose? Many times what happens is you will find yourself just out on a limb when you don't live on purpose. And what do I mean when I say that? So purpose really is a set of guidelines for how we live our lives. Like once we realize what we are called to do, then we should be spending our times focusing on walking in that. And so many times we end up getting distracted. Why? Because we are trying to be like somebody else. Why? Because we get kind of distracted by just trying to make X amount of dollars by any means necessary. The term being a millionaire has become something that takes over us, where we're just so fixated on getting the dollars and getting the likes and having the viral videos and making sure that everybody is talking about us, looking at us, focusing on us. We get so fixated on that that you then lose sight of your purpose. And when you are walking in what you're walking by and saying, hey, I don't care how I get whatever, so you then adopt a by any means necessary attitude, and in the negative way, because I'll talk about it in the positive way. Hey, Dennis, thanks for tuning in. But when you start walking in your purpose, negatively by any means necessary, meaning I don't care who I hurt, I don't care what I have to do, I don't care what shortcut I have to take, I don't care who I have to lay with, I don't care, what it is you're asking me to do. All I care about is making sure that I get what I want. Um, for me, I don't consider that living in purpose, because when you are living in purpose, when you are doing what you know you've been put here on earth to do, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Most times our purpose is beyond ourselves, right? Most times the way that purpose is set up is that somebody else is going to be benefited from your gift, your idea, your talent, whatever it is that you have that's inside you. Very rarely, I don't even know anybody's purpose who is like authentically walking in purpose, that it only benefits yourself, right? So like if you are a person and you want to advocate for cancer survivors, then even if you get recognized, ultimately that is a byproduct, right? Because you're trying to advocate for somebody else. If you advocate for stroke awareness like I do, or suicide prevention like I do, then it's not about you, right? And I was watching a reel that George Foreman had done, where he talked about how all of this time, he had spent so much time in his, younger boxing years. He said, I've been traveling all over the world trying to promote me, trying to promote myself. And for me, when you're doing that, that's not walking in purpose. When you are power hungry, when you are just thinking about how you can look better, how you can have more, how you, then that's not walking in purpose. That's walking in person, right? That's walking in me, in myself, just making everything about me. And that can become dangerous, because again, at that point, you're doing whatever by any means necessary, because all your focus is making sure that people know you, bow down to you, think that you are great. And so you have to be careful, because what happens, people then become, again, they get hungry and addicted to the power. So when you look at some of the people that's named, when you look at a Diddy, and again, this is not judgment, you can go and read some of the articles, because even though this is the latest situation, this is not the first time ever that charges have been brought up against Diddy. This is not the first time ever that people have had the same type of complaint, that he is drunk with power, right? And so we have to be careful, because what happens is when we start acquiring so many things, then now we forget about God. It's easy to forget about God when you start acquiring so many things, because you then feel like you got these things on your own. You then feel like you can do all of these things by yourself. And so once you start having that type of mindset, then it's almost like you want for people to deify you, right? Like, I'm the one that's doing all of this and you are puffy. And so pun intended, I guess. I really wasn't, but yeah, you can get puffed up when you are thinking with that mindset. And so it is important that you always remain humble. I don't care who you are. I don't care what rooms you walk in. I don't care how much of anything you've been able to accumulate. It is so important that you remain humble, because the moment that you lose your sense of humility, the moment that you just start walking in a spirit of arrogance, vanity. You have to understand that vanity is something that is really in alignment with the enemy, right? And so again, just taking a quick moment to let you guys know, if you listen to this, anytime I talk about purpose stuff on the Friday show, then this is assumed that everybody that's listening are believers. Never trying to offend anybody, but I'm not going to curb my language. So if you are not a believer, and if you do get offended by the talk of God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, the Trinity, anything like that, then this might not be the podcast that you want to listen to, especially on Fridays. But any other day, I'm going to talk about it too. But specifically with Friday, I will have that language. So just letting you know that now. But here's the thing: when you are walking according to purpose as a believer, your belief is that God gave you whatever this talent is, and so therefore you understand that if you didn't gift yourself with this, then you are not the one that's able to maintain it. And the problem that we have is that people, no matter what level you are on, if flesh takes the lead, then it becomes dangerous. So now insert what's being said about Bishop T.D. Jakes. Now, again, I am not here to crucify or vilify anybody. I'm simply giving you all what the story is. I said it totally objectively. I am not defending one way or the other, because at the end of the day, I don't care who you are. Right is right and wrong is wrong, period. But just to let you know that the same way how God says he has no respecter of persons, he will use whomever, right? Guess what? So will the enemy. The enemy has no respecter of persons. He will use whomever allows themselves to be used. And this is why, as people, so now I'm getting to the heart of the show, you have to be careful how it is that you look to people, right? Like, too many times in our society, what we do is, again, we deify people, we make gods out of people, we idolize people, we forget that they bleed the same red blood that we do, right? We forget that they have to get up and put on pants one leg at a time, the same as us. And so, you look at the fact, oh my goodness, because you know that this person has had so much money or lived in so many places or have so many followers, that you allow it to get you to act like, oh, they're so much better than you and there's so much more. No, they just came into a different situation than you did. And again, at the end of the day, you don't even know how they got where they are, right? A lot of times you look and you see these people and you see, oh, they're number one. But the question is, how did they get there? Did they sleep their way to the top? Did they embezzle their way to the top? Like, if you are a person where integrity matters, then it's going to bother you. Because again, and let me say this, please understand, I'm not saying this in any type of judgmental light. I have not always been a perfect person. I have made my share of mistakes. There have been times where I made decisions where I totally lacked integrity, and my character, I did not lead with character. But because I made said mistakes and because God gave me grace, that's why I know that it is possible. Like, you can have the best of intentions sometimes and you still fall. You can be in relationship with God and love God, and you can still fall if you don't stay prayed up, if you don't stay where your flesh is on the decrease and your spirit man is on the increase. Temptation can overtake you at any time. And I don't just mean sexual temptations, because there's so many different kinds. Why? Because it's so many different people. And you have to understand that the enemy knows how to get to everybody. No matter what your weakness is, he can get you. If your thing is the same sex, he can get you. Other sex, he can get you. Money, he can get you. Fame, he can get you. If you were broken and you just need somebody to act like they love you, he can get you. And so this is why you have to focus on you walking in purpose, because the moment that you are not walking in purpose is the moment that you open the door for the enemy to come in and take over, right? And so there are a lot of people, like, my prayer, honestly, My prayer is that the world is ready just in case it is right. Like, I'm not praying for anybody's downfall. So whether it be TD Jakes, whether it be Tyler Perry, whether it be whoever it is, I'm not praying for anybody's downfall, right? Praying for grace for everybody, but beyond whoever may be guilty, in conjunction with the Christian Keys allegations, in conjunction with what they're saying about this Cassie situation. Because again, and keep in mind, it's probably a whole lot of other stuff that we just haven't gotten wind of, right? This is just the stuff that we know about. Because here's the thing, what you all may not even think about, but before there was a world wide web, before there was social media, people were still doing immoral things. It was just the fact that it was so much easier to keep it under wraps then, because nobody had ways to learn about it. When somebody did things, when they propositioned people, you couldn't get on Instagram, you couldn't get on Facebook, TikTok, you couldn't go somewhere and in a click of a button notify the world that somebody was doing this. So people who were doing just messed up stuff, hey KL, people who were doing messed up stuff, they had the ability to do it a lot longer without getting caught. So it's not that this whole situation is something new. It's just the fact that because of social media, we are aware of it. But the point that I'm making is I am praying beyond the people who may be guilty, who are being, who are allegedly guilty. I'm praying for all of those people who have deified them. I'm praying for all of those people who have made Bishop T.D. Jakes their God. I'm praying for all of those people who have idolized Tyler Perry. And y'all already know how I feel about Tyler Perry. He is not somebody I idolize, but he is someone that I said because of his mind that I have always wanted to meet. Now, let me tell you, at the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. And if it is that he is one who is involved, then guess what? I'm not going to be a person that tries to make excuses, because a lot of times that's what we do as well. We try to vilify the victims because it's somebody, if it's somebody that we like or somebody that we admire, then we want to try to make excuses and justifications because it makes us feel better. But I pray for those people. I pray that everybody who has deified Bishop T.D. Jakes. And again, I honor him in because the Bible says to give honor to whom honor is due. And so the call that's on his life, because the fact of him, if indeed he is guilty, it doesn't take away his ability to preach the word. So it's not that he was not effective in his ministry, but sometimes what happens is people will make it seem as though, well, since he's the bishop, then there's nothing that he does wrong. And we cannot do that. We cannot not hold people accountable, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you have, no matter how many followers you have. Everybody is accountable. And my prayer, especially for those that are connected to Bishop Jakes, if indeed it does come out that he is guilty, if that happens, my prayer is that people do not fall away from God. My prayer is that people still have their faith and understand that your faith should have never been in man. Your faith should not be built upon another person that breathes breath just like you, a person that bleeds blood just like you, but to understand that all of us are susceptible to sin. All of us are susceptible to downfall, right? And so my prayer is that we're still able to be okay as a society. My prayer is that we don't start trying to justify wrongdoing because of who it is. My prayer is that we don't start trying to make it be okay, it's okay to have immoral sexual activities, like again, Keith just said it, as long as he acknowledges everything and why if it's true, to offer healing to anyone who's hurt. So in essence, to be accountable, right? And so even in that, how long ago did it happen? Like if it just happened yesterday, and again, this is just theoretically and hypothetically, if it happened yesterday, then are you really removed from it, or did you just get caught in it? Versus if it's something that happened 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, even, like, because you just have to be able to show that there is a difference in what you did and what you are doing, right? Because all of us have sinned and come short. All of us have done things that we are not proud about. And all of us are praying that certain skeletons never come out of closets, right? But there's a difference between if it's what you are actively doing and you just got caught versus if it's a part of your past that just came out. So I think that yes, it is something to be said about being accountable, but it's also something to be said. The Bible says, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. So, if you come on and you say that, I'm sorry that this came out, but if you are still engaging in the same types of activities, then it's only a matter of time before something else comes out. Let's say Keith says all details must be brought to light and on whatever happened because he's questioned the actions of others. Yes. And so, like I say, this right here, this talk, I wanted to use Bishop Diddy, Christian Keys. I wanted to bring this to light because number one, everybody's talking about it, but not in a gossipy way, right? We have to be able to learn to see what's going on in the world and still be able to do what we're supposed to do, right? So whether Bishop Jakes is guilty or not, whether Tyler Perry is guilty or not, whether Diddy is guilty or not, how is that going to affect you and your purpose, right? Because a lot of times what we also do, what we either do directly or we allow to be done, is allowing what other people are doing to become the deflection and the distraction for why we're not walking in our purpose, right? So whatever is the latest thing, now that's the reason why I'm not walking in my purpose. Well, if this person wouldn't have done that, then I would have. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when judgment comes, God is going to hold you accountable for what you did or did not do. And even if you try to say, well, this person, guess what? They have to be held accountable as well. But nobody can stop you from walking in your purpose but you. I know it might be a hard truth. You might have legitimate reasons. Other people might legitimately have hurt you, done things, and all of that. And so I'm not taking away from any of it. Trust me, I grew up in an abusive household. I grew up like it was a lot of jacked up things that happened to me. But guess what? There's a point where you have to determine, okay, am I going to allow the things that happen to me, am I going to allow them to further dictate what I choose to do? There becomes a point where you have to make a conscious choice of what path you want to take. The Bible says pray for your enemies. A lot of people may not be at a place now where you're strong enough to pray for your enemies, and that's okay. But do not allow your enemies, do not allow those people who have wronged you to have so much power over you that they keep your growth stunted. Do not allow, because somebody said something that you didn't like, they did something you didn't like. Do not, hello, Miss Patricia, don't allow what somebody else is saying about you to stunt your growth, right? They say all the time how somebody else feels about you, that's not your business. Because at the end of the day, I can't change how you feel about me. Like I can come out and I can have an intention that's left, but then you see it as right. And it's not my job to spend my life trying to make you feel a certain way about me. It's my job to continue to live in my purpose, to continue to walk in my purpose, despite what you do and what you don't do, despite how you live and how you don't live. And like I say, so my prayer, and I'm bringing this down to a close, y'all, but my prayer, honestly, is that whatever this is that happens, because what you have to see beyond all of this is that it is a trick of the enemy. It is a trick to try to distract and divide. And again, understand that is not me saying that, trying to take off anything from anybody who may be guilty, but that is for me to say that there is a greater focus, and the greater focus is, who did these people influence? And we have to make sure that those people, excuse me, that those people stay encouraged, that those people don't feel as though, because sometimes there are people who, the way that they come to God or come to the knowledge of God is because of a particular person. And so they then erroneously equate that person to being a God like figure, right? So again, they deify them. And the problem with that, the danger is that, and that is understanding every person is a person. I don't care what their titles are. And that's one of the reasons why I tell y'all all the time, like, yeah, I serve in a leadership role in pretty much every room that I'm in. I got more titles than most people. And the titles mean nothing if you're not doing the work, right? Some people get caught up and infatuated and fall in love with titles. Why? Because they're looking at the power that comes with that. They're looking at how many people are going to idolize them, bow down to them. But that's not the proper order, right? Like at the end of the day, you have to always maintain a spirit of humility and understand that any room that you're in, any stage that you're on, it's only because God made a way for that to happen. So you have to always, you may be very good at whatever it is you do. You may be a best-selling author, award-winning filmmaker, Oscar winner, Grammy winner. You might have all of these different followers, but at the end of the day, it's never because of you. At the end of the day, whatever it is you're able to do, it is because of the fact that God have allowed these things to happen. He's giving you the ability to do it. So we have to always be intentional in walking in our purpose, be intentional in how it is that we are going about with our gift. And I'm going to end with this. I've talked about Keith Lee before. Keith Lee is a well-known TikTok food blogger, critic, whatever you want to call him, food reviewer. I'll say it like that, food reviewer. Now, this is somebody who has well over 15 million followers, right? But whenever you look at him, whenever you listen to him, he always remains humble. He always says that God is amazing, that this has nothing to do with me. I'm just a regular person. I don't want to be treated like a celebrity because I'm just like everybody else. And if we can adopt that mindset, like, do what you've been purposed to do because it's what you've been purposed to do, whether you get recognized, whether your name is called, whether you get promoted or not by men, understand that God is going to always look out for you. He's going to always make sure that whatever door is supposed to be open, whatever window is supposed to be open, whatever room you're supposed to be in, he is the one that's going to make sure that that happens. So you could save yourself a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of tears by not comparing yourself with others, by not blaming yourself and being mad at yourself because you don't look like this person, you ain't made what this person made, you ain't gave what this person gave, and just ask God to show you how to walk in your purpose, show you for this time, this season in my life. Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? What would you have me to do? Because the fact of the matter is, maybe you're not in that room because that's not where you're supposed to be right now. But you're allowing yourself to feel like a failure because you have put this metric on yourself. So, in either case, guys, that is today's show. I hope that what was said has been able to help somebody. I thank all of you all so much this entire year that we have had, because again, this is my last official show of 2023. You might catch me live here and there, maybe, and that's a maybe, here and there before January 8th, but it will not be an official capacity. It has been my pleasure and my honor to serve you all. I serve in a lot of capacities, but as the executive director and producer of the Educated and Empowered podcast, it has been such an honor and privilege to educate and empower you all personally with the Self Care Act show, professionally with aspects of entrepreneurship, politically with It's Not Politics, It's Principles, socially with Inspirational Talk with Tennille, and spiritually with Get in Alignment with Your Assignment. And there is so much more to come. And so, again, if you would like to be a sponsor of the show, you have the opportunity to do so. Sponsorship packages start at just $100, and then they work their way up. But then we have a la carte items that we offer as well. If you just want to have your logo listed, or if you just want to have a promo done, then you can do that. But it is always free to be a guest. So if you would like to be on the show, you want to be a guest on the show, then feel free to send me an email. If you want to be a guest on the show, feel free to send an email to TennilleJackson@yahoo.com. But again, I say, when we come back in this new year, we're going to have, I'm so excited, y'all, because we're working on brand new intros for everything. We'll have different contact information. So all of that stuff is getting set up as well. But while we are down, the email still works. So you can send an email to TennilleJackson@yahoo.com if you would like to be a guest. But if you would like to be a sponsor, the same email, but we can get you situated so that when we come back on January 8th, you will be ready and good to go. But I just want to thank you all so much. It has been such a run, so much to be grateful for. And maybe this should have been a reflection show. Who knows? I may come back and just do that on my own, just reflecting on the goodness of God, reflecting on all that He has allowed me to do since I've decided to walk in my purpose. And I always tell you guys, I'm purposed to educate and empower, whether it's through my books as an author, whether it's through my films as a documentarian, whether it's as a speaker, as a coach, as a podcaster, whether it's through preaching in church on Sundays, whether it's through running for office. What I do, I am here to educate and empower. And so I thank God for giving light to that. And so if there's someone who is there listening and you are not sure what your purpose is, then again, continue to pray and ask God to reveal it to you. There are some courses that I'll be having coming this new year. There are some master classes that I'll have coming this new year. And don't be surprised, guys, if in the next couple weeks you get hit up from me in your inbox. Yes, it is me. It's not hacking, because I want to make sure that if we are connected, it's intentionally so. So if you're following me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or even Wisdom, don't think it's strange if I start reaching out and kind of reintroducing myself and making sure that I have contact information so that I can keep you abreast of everything that's going on, because it is so much stuff that's going on. But I just thank you again so much for everybody that tuned in. And as I said, if we are not already connected on any of the social media platforms, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Clubhouse, TikTok, or even Wisdom, you can find and follow me at My Name is Tennille. But thank you all so much for tuning in. And I pray that you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That's all for now. Until next time, you all stay inspired.